The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 66. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of outstanding women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com to check out amazing blog articles and our killer resources. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a special lady on today. She has her own successful podcast, which is called the Womenpreneur, and she is also a branding and marketing expert, helping businesses and people learn how to build a brand. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Smita Singh. Smita, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Sure. Hi, Sheena. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Great. First of all, congratulations. Huge congratulations coming your way. You're doing so amazing, and your podcast is up there, and you've crossed Gary Vee's podcast. So that's a great accomplishment. So congratulations.
Thank you. I do my best.
Absolutely. You're doing awesome. So kudos to you. And a little bit about myself. How much time do we have? So, that's what you said is right. I do have a podcast right now. It's called the Womenpreneur Strategies for Success. I love podcasting. I'm addicted to it. And I am a marketing and branding strategist and an expert. I do help businesses as well as personal brands, authors, people that want to build something, stand out. That's what I help them do. I love planning. I love strategizing. So it just gets me all riled up. And I'm like, all right, if I could turn my office into like a huge whiteboard or a blackboard and just put mind maps on it, that'd be my funnest day. So that's what I love to do. I also have an amazing supportive husband and 2 kids. And really, I love the support. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I agree with you with that addiction to podcasting. I mean, it's one of the greatest things I've ever discovered. Considering,
it is, isn't it?
Considering I had no clue what a podcast was. So.
Exactly. So when did you get introduced to podcasts?
Oh, probably in the summer.
Yeah. But go, girl. I mean, you got introduced in summer and now you already have your own podcast. So that's awesome.
Well,
but you're right. It's addicting. And there was a time when the iOS app changed or something happened and my podcast app wouldn't work. And I swear that was the most depressing day of my life. I was like, what the hell? I'm outside and I need my podcast to work.
I would probably cry too.
Yes.
So, Smita, what's your cultural background?
I am originally an Indian. So I was born and brought up in India. I went to school in India. I finished my high school and I moved to the United States to do my undergrad. So I've been here for a long time. I did live in Europe for a little bit, and it's amazing. I am here as an Indian. Well, I have Indian background. Well, I went to school in India and I was born there. So I really try to keep my cultural background quite a bit. I try to teach my kids, a lot, but it's great to kind of have that when you're in that juxtaposition of 2 cultures and you have to, really balance both. It's really amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
That's a good one. And because we are on the Tao of self-confidence and we talk to a lot of women, amazing women, I'm going to give you a quote from an amazing woman. This is a quote from Coco Chanel. And I love this one because she says, a girl should be 2 things, who and what she wants.
I love it. And it's true, right? I mean, everything is within us to do the things that we want to do, right? Whoever we want to be, what we want in our life. We just have to go out there and just take it, right?
Yes.
Just take it. So
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
For me, self-confidence is really just standing up and owning what you're doing. A lot of times in our lives, for us that are doing things and for people that are on the fence who want to do something on their own or, even in their career, whatever they're doing, sometimes people are so scared to stand up and own it because they're either worried about what people are going to say or how society is going to, react to it, especially for some of us who are, from an Asian culture or South Asian background. It's society is a big thing. So, really, it's up to us, up to your individual self first to know that you can do it. So really having that belief, and that belief is literally, will take you halfway to success. So having that belief, having that positive mindset, and knowing that you can do it, and really coming to a point where when you have that belief in yourself, don't care about what anybody else says, because most of them will say you can't do it, but it's up to you to say, I'm going to do it. So I think that's a big thing I've learned myself, through my journey. For example, just recently this weekend, on Friday, I write for the Huffington Post, and one of my posts was featured on the first page of the Huffington Post. And it was great. I got a lot of, positive comments and so many supporters and fans and friends and everything. And of course, with the good comes the bad, right? So I did have a few people who have no clue who I am, who wrote a couple of unkind comments. And if I didn't have that self-confidence within myself, I would probably be sitting in my little hole in my room and close the door and be crying. But I'm like, dude, you don't know me, and you have no idea what I have done, what struggles I have faced, what journey I have come through, what experiences I have had. So who is that other person to judge what I do and how I do it and why I do it? Until and unless we come to that understanding where you know me. So really, I think more than half the time, the battle is to just let the outside world be outside. And I think for me, self-confidence is to just believe in yourself and go forward. And I do want to bring a quick, this vision, this visual thing that I have. And I'm a podcaster, so I can keep talking, Sheena. But, and I think this was amazing. Somebody told me once, they said, imagine you're walking down the beach, and when you're walking barefoot. There are so many pebbles that come under your feet, right? You're not going to pick up every pebble and put it in your pocket. You're going to just, if the pebble comes in, you're going to either walk away or pick it up and throw it away. That's how you should be in life, and that is what is going to give you self-confidence.
Awesome. And I love how you share that, just don't worry about the outside world, just go do your thing, because, we can't please everyone, especially, like you said, being in an Asian culture. Everything's led by the society and, how women should be raised and act a certain way. And it's, doing things like this is really out of the norm for most Asian cultures. So thanks for sharing that awesome definition and that explanation with a pebble.
Absolutely.
So what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I think I have always had some level of self-confidence. Even when I was young, I was out there, I would do plays, I would be on stage. And I think I never had never not had self-confidence. I think the really big thing for me was to believe in my own self-confidence. I don't know if let me go more detail into it. One part of self-confidence is being able to physically do things, right? When you're able to get out there and do things and maybe, talk when you're asked to, all of that stuff comes through the physical aspect of it. But internally, to be able to internalize that belief is something that really takes time to hone. And I think that's one of the things that, as I started my own businesses and as I started working with people, I think that's when I really honed into myself. And the other thing to really know and understand is that what you bring to the table is yours, right? It's your experiences, what lessons you have learned. There is no other person in this world who has the same experiences as you do. So in that uniqueness lies self-confidence.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I'm pretty sure when, you started doing your own business or just being, being your own boss, I'm sure you had some obstacles that you had to face. And, I'm pretty sure you were able to come out of it. What were like those aha moments when you realized, you know what, this is just temporary. I can always get back up and be on my feet again?
One is hard. I think there are a lot of moments that, you come across. But I think the biggest was when I guess, and in every business there's something, but I think the first ever aha moment was in my first business when I set it up and actually my second one, when I set it up and everything. And I realized that, I've done all of this hard work, but somehow it doesn't match my lifestyle. And at that point, there are doubts and there are self-confidence issues and, did I make the right decision and what the right choice and all of that stuff. So I think that was my aha moment where I took some time and really, spent some time introspecting, going back. And what I came to realize is that every decision that you make in life, everything has a purpose. You might not know it at that time, but those 3 years or those 2 years or that 6 months that you live that consequence of a decision is a life learning lesson. And if you take every lesson as that, it'll turn into, your life experience.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. I do believe everything happens for a reason, and there's something. I think we're given certain things in our life as a test to see whether we can come out of it or not. So thanks for sharing that. And after these little aha moments that you've had, what's your life been right now or after that discovery?
It's been crazy. In short, it's been amazing because, every time you do something, you are tested, like you said, because you do have naysayers, you have people that are, supporting you. And I think it has given me the confidence to keep going on and on. And I still remember Roosevelt's quote where he says, believe you can and you're halfway there. I think it's every time you try to do something, you are going to have doubts, but to really dispel them is to move forward. And I'll tell you a good example. Very recently, a fairly large company had approached me to do their marketing and branding strategic plan. And I was waiting. So we'd had chats and we'd had talks and they all went great. And then for a week, I didn't hear anything. So I was literally that whole week, I was just thinking, what happened? Right. And this is me, even after so many years and having that self-confidence and knowing that everything went well. But for that 1 week, I was, thinking and I was, going through stuff in my mind. I was like, okay, what's going on? Why this and this and this and all these permutations and combinations? And then Monday morning, I woke up and I said to myself, I said, you know what? I'm going to be confident in myself. I'm going to give me permission to say everything went well and now it's up to the universe to bring it to me. And that's exactly what I said. I prayed and I said, according to me, everything was great. And now I'm going to just let it go. And you won't believe it, that same day I got an email. So really, you have to have that willpower, that permission that you give to yourself to stand up and say, I'm good and I have confidence in myself.
Awesome. Well, that's a great story. And I know sometimes when we don't hear anything, when we just hear crickets, it's the first thing we worry about is, oh no, what happened? Right?
Exactly.
I get the same way. It's like I see sometimes when I'm checking numbers on the podcast, how many downloads, I'm like, oh my God, what if I can't keep up with next week's stats? And then I have to sit down you know what? Whatever happens, happens. Everyone's loving it. You'll be fine. And if something bad happens, then you can work your way up again, right? Anything that goes down can still go back up. So, it's funny. It's a podcast about self-confidence, and I always still deal with a lot of issues, right? Like any other woman, right?
Absolutely. And I don't think it's something that ever goes away. There was a conference, and don't quote me on this, but I know there was, it was a global women's conference or something. And I read on Twitter somewhere where somebody quoted Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook. And this was probably a month ago, where she stood up on stage and she said she still has imposter syndrome, right? So think about it. I think all of us at every stage of life, at every decision, we do go through those moments. The difference between a successful person versus a not so successful person is when you go through that moment and you come out of it. A lot of us tend to just get stuck and then we call it, we're stuck in this moment and how do I get unstuck? The problem is not with you not having self-confidence or you having the imposter syndrome. The goal is to rise above it. You go through it. It is emotions, and how you get over it is what makes you successful.
Thank you. And I think that's a great tip for any woman who's listening to this, especially in their own journey of self-confidence. I always believe, the difference is just taking the action, regardless of how scared you are, what you feel, or what your emotions are. Just take that action, right? So
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Smita. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you, wanted to know about your services, and maybe want to read that article on Huffington Post, is there any websites or social media profiles we can connect with?
Sure. You can go on my website. It's www.womenpreneursuccess.com. And once you're done listening to all of Sheena's podcasts, you can come listen to mine. It's the Womenpreneur Strategies for Success. And I am on all social media. I'm on Twitter. I am at the Smita Singh. I am on Facebook, Smita Singh. And you'll find me just if you Google Womenpreneur Success. And it's WOMENPRENEUR Success. You'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all that info. And to the listeners out there, if you want to get to know Smita a little bit more, or check out her services, just head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Smita's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Smita for taking the time to share her story, share her tips on self-confidence. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
No problem. And to the listeners out there, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And I'll catch you later. Bye for now. Thank you for connecting with us on the Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit thetaoofselfconfidence.com for links to everything we chatted about, as well as killer resources, gifts, and so much more.